so we're not collecting from my government, so you
Yeah,
they want to
that's
know, right?
My phone number's
Well,
on.
I have to discuss.
Stan Brown. I'm Trustee Robert Hunt.
And Trustee Kathy Van Dale. Today, we called this meeting before you because at the last meeting, you guys asked questions about building permits, public works, and basically just basic information as far as new business. Today, we're here to hear your concerns and also answer any questions in regards to the following items. Here, we have Sandra, which is over building department. She's here to answer any questions and give you all the information that you need. So let's begin. We start with building permits. One of the questions was, do I have to get a permit for every single thing? And the answer was yes. So Sandra can elaborate so you will know kind of little details about what items.
Okay, building permits. There are several types of building permits. There's the general permit, which means it's work to be done that is not electric or plumbing. Homeowners can do general work that is allowed here, that you can pull your own permit for the general work. However, right now, the village does not allow homeowners to do electric or plumbing or heating work. That work has to be done by a licensed, bonded contractor. And to that end, contractors have to be licensed and bonded here in Dolton, regardless to whether they're licensed elsewhere. The licensing process is very easy. It requires insurance, bonding. In the event, if they're an electrician, it also calls for a supervising electrical license. In the case of a plumber, it requires a state plumbing license, which is the 055 or the 058. If you're a plumber, you do not have to have both bonding and the 055. The 055 is actually the bond with the state that is allowed, so you don't need any additional. Homeowners, again, you can pull your own general permit, but the thing is, you have to be doing the work. You cannot pull a permit saying, yes, I'm going to do my roofing, I'm going to do the drywalling, and actually have a contractor come in and do the work. Now, some people think we're like really stupid, and they say, oh, this is my cousin, he's doing the work. Well, that's all good. However, your cousin shouldn't be out there with cousins drywalling, cousins contracting company, and you have to be there physically doing the work. Otherwise, we take it that a contractor is doing this work, therefore you are subject to a fine. The fines are pretty steep. The fines are $500 for a ticket. It's not worth it to do that. Not saying everybody gets caught, because there's a lot of it going on, but why take that chance? If you really can't do roofing, but you have a cousin who can help you, that's fine. But you need to be out there. You need to be out there physically helping do that work. Permits are 90 days from the day that you pick it up, 90 days later. Permit fees are based on the cost of the contract. So when you come and apply for a permit, you need to know what the cost of the job is. You need to also have a contract from your contractor with your signature and the contractor's signature saying that you agreed on that he's going to do X, Y, and Z at whatever cost that you've agreed upon. That is how we calculate the fees. There's a sliding scale for general permit fees. The least expensive permit is $40, and it goes up $10 for every $100 thereafter. Plumbing, the basic fee is $40. Then after $1,000, it's calculated at 4%. Electrical, there's not a formula Right now, the electrical inspector reviews the work, because electrical work is kind of tedious. It depends on how many circuits you're putting in, how many sockets, a whole lot of things go into that. So the electrical inspector reviews those permits. Those are not issued the same day generally because he has to review it and then set the cost, and you can usually pick it up the next day. That is the basics. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions?
I answered my questions already.
Okay.
I was very concerned with some other things you were talking.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is Public Works. We have trustee Kathy Van Dale here to elaborate on any question as it relates to water. Okay.
Okay, this is the new meter that's coming out, so they can actually read the meter by just hitting the bings off the towers. So these are what's gonna be upcoming, so we don't have somebody actually physically come into the house to look at your meters. If you have a water bill and you don't understand it, E is for estimated. That means you weren't home to be letting the person in, and they estimated the bill from here. If you have an A, it's an actual bill. That means the meter reader actually came out and read it, and it is what it is. Now, there's a lot of things that can happen that causes your water to go up. Washing cars, watering the grass. If you have a toilet that's leaking in the back, sometimes they tell you because it's winter time and you have a water access to the wall of the back of the house where it's exposed a little bit, it's close to the wall, it could freeze up, so they said let it drip. Well, every drip costs you money. Doesn't sound like it, but it really can. A friend of mine went to bed, turned his water on, forgot to turn it off, so it ran all night. So his water bill was another $50 to $75 more for 8 hours of the water running all night. So there's a lot of things. Washing cars is one of the biggest ones. People don't realize how much they use. Same thing when you're taking showers. Some children like to be in there an hour. Well, what I was telling one lady, put the stopper up, and when it starts to overflow, it's time for him to get out, or her to get out. Because you don't know when it's running how much they're actually using. Some people like to have their water real hot when they're doing dishes. Well, if you wait for it to heat up, it could take a while for that water to heat up. While you're letting it run to heat up, it's costing you money while it's going down the drain. The other thing I recommend is if you are having tenants and they're leaving and you don't have a renter to move in, you need to come to the village, pay your water bill up, pay $75 to turn your water off, and have your trash can taken away. Because if for some reason you don't have gas in there or heating in there, the walls, the water pipes break, and then the walls buckle, and you have a lot of work you have to do to the inside of your house. So, you know, sometimes they think, well, the gas is in the renter's name, the water's in my name, I'm okay, they turn the gas off. It's not in the wintertime. It can cause a lot of damage, so you don't want to have damage. The other thing is I did a sheet up on water usage. If you put $2 away every day religiously, like you get your Starbucks coffee or your favorite restaurant to go eat, by the time it's time to pay the water bill, you'll have your water paid and your dinner or lunch with a friend. So it's easier to do things each day than it is to wait till the last minute to do things. I'm a proactive person, not a reactive person. So I do things that I know that will help me when it gets down the road. We're always 3 months behind on the water bill. It's not up to date. So when your bill comes, you're 3 months behind. So you've already used the water. There's nothing you can do but pay it because it's already used. But if it's really high, you need to find out what's causing it to be high. And the most ones is that we found is that the toilet is running and they don't hear it. Because you leave the room once you flush, and the chain goes under the stopper, and the water's running the whole time until you come home from work. So you lose a lot of water that way.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the water situation. When you do all of this, you ask the city to, shut up the water.
Shut off the water.
And what is the fee for reinstated?
$75. But if you, say you don't have somebody in there for 3 months, you're gonna get a minimum bill, which is the $109 right now. Unless somebody's using it that you don't know about, somebody went in and squatted in there or something, you're gonna pay for that bill. So really, if you turn it off, hopefully you'll have somebody in there in 3 months, but you don't want it to be more than that. You could take the chance it's gonna be a minimum bill, but you don't know.
Patty, can you explain about the water rates going up and where they are now?
Okay, the water rates right now, I just did the sheet up, the water rates went up because of the meters that we're installing, because we're gonna be proactive on that. We have to install some in some of the places that don't have them. So right now, for 10 units, the minimum is $52.30. If anybody wants to come get a sheet. $2 for the sewer, and your refuge is the trash that goes away. And it must be in your trash container. And if you want extra trash containers, you can have them, but there's an extra fee for those extra trash containers. And if you have new residents that move, new tenants that move in, please make sure that they know that the leaves and stuff have to be in the brown paper bags, not the plastic bags, because they won't pick them up. And after December 1st, we don't pick up leaves, because the station that takes them is not open. So they don't take them any longer, so they don't pick them up. So they have to find a place to store them. My recommendation is you can do 2 things, is store them somewhere away from any gasoline or anything that would be composed before it blows up. Or, yeah, that's the right word, thank you, sir. The other thing is that you make sure that if you want to, you can make a compost pile. You just get 4 stakes, get you some chicken wire, go around it, put a thing over top of it with chicken wire, and get about 3 dozen night crawlers. They go in there and they chew on those leaves, and before you know it, you got something to go on your garden for the next year. So we're saving instead of losing. So,
Excuse me,
Did that help? Oh.
but your meter.
yes, the meter, yes.
I have a digital one. but
Okay.
It's inside the house.
You don't have anything on the outside?
I have nothing on the outside. What is the cost to,
Well, right now, I don't know, because we haven't went through the whole process. But if it's a rental property, I believe the rentals are paid from the rental person, right? The person that owns the house?
It depends on what their lease says.
Okay. And then,
I'm talking about for my house, because for the rental, they had that.
if it's
already.
broken, it's repaired free.
No, it's not broken. I'm talking for my house, because for the rental, it's already.
There's-
You don't have an outside reader?
There is an outside reader
At the rental.
from the
At the rental, but
place.
not his house.
But for my house, I would like to put it, sometimes it comes, I'm not home,
Yeah.
and my wife will not open the door.
Okay. Well, check with me next week, and I'll see if I can find out that information. Because
Okay.
with us doing a new process, I don't know what you're gonna do with that, because I haven't heard the whole thing.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
Thank you.
Can I just say
Yes.
something? For people who are buying new properties here, there is a requirement that if you have an old meter, that the meter has to be replaced. That is the responsibility of the buyer. With that comes you need to have a permit for plumbing work, because the plumber has to come in and put new fittings in the house, because the old meter is a different size than the new meter. So they call it a meter spread. That's all I can tell you about it. I don't know what it looks like. But your plumber has to put in the new meter spread, and also with the permit to go to Public Works to pick up the couplings to put on the meter spread. At that point, the homeowner can buy the meter at $225. Public Works will come out and install the meter once the appointment has been made. But there's a lot of confusion about that. People say, I have a meter. Well, you might have a meter, but that meter is probably not working, and probably, most likely, an old meter. So you're having to upgrade to the new meter. And that also, like I said, calls for a plumbing permit. And that should be indicated on your inspection report, for your sales inspection report. It's usually checked off on there, and it also tells you that you need a plumbing permit. So no, you cannot, as a homeowner, put in the meter spread. You have to get a plumber. Public Works will not give you the couplings unless you bring the permit and show them that you have a professional to install the meter spread.
And on that 225, forgive me please, in that 225 you charge for the meter,
For the meter,
is the installation included?
it is. And that also includes putting on the outside reader.
Now, if I'm to put one in my house, one of the, so the reader can get the access through it. I have one in the house that's working properly. You have installed it. It's a digital also.
Well, they're gonna do something different for people when they go to this. That doesn't.
Yeah, we don't know exactly.
We don't
what
know
that
how
is.
they're gonna set that up, but I'm just saying for people right now who are purchasing
Oh,
houses.
all right.
But there's another plan in place to replace everyone's meter to the new digital.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Now, I have one more thing to add, because I believe that you tell everybody everything up front so that nobody gets excited later. So this figure of the money that was added on for the August bill, September and October bill, but it's gonna go up again in January because the Rahm Emanuel from the city of Chicago is where we get our money, our water from. So he increases it at the beginning of January. So in January, there will be another increase. You will not see it until your after January bill. So it would be your January, February, and March bill, you'll see that put on. But that's not here yet. So, and we've got a contract with the city of Chicago for the water for that. So I just want you to know, be prepared, not to get excited, that it's gonna be another small addition to it.
Do you know the amounts yet?
No, not yet.
It's posted, if I'm not mistaken.
It might be posted out there on the wall,
It is.
Okay.
outside the door,
For the rates?
for those water rates. Oh, you got that?
What's the old?
What does it say?
What's that?
No, that's the one that's now, that's the new rate. But
Okay,
there might be the dates out there
It
on the
is.
wall. I didn't bring that in, I'm sorry.
but I'd like to kind of go back. There was a question asked about the permits. Were you clear on that?
The plumbing permits?
Yeah.
Oh, my question was, if you wanted to replace a J-tube or something under your sink, do you need a plumber?
You're gonna do it
Just to
yourself?
help you with the J2.
I've been doing it for myself for 30 years.
Well, you're doing it yourself, will you have to do it yourself?
You know what that is?
That's like where,
You look up under the sink, that little,
You know,
well,
I say.
you know, all that beautiful hair goes in there. Ladies.
I do it
Ladies.
too. I'm not a plumber, I do it.
Sure, sir, you could do that yourself. I mean,
you've got to turn
truthfully, we
on.
cannot see in your house. We're talking about plumbing work that will affect the sewer system. If you put it in incorrectly, that little tube thing, that's only gonna affect you in your house. If you screw that up, your sink is not gonna work. That's on you. But we're talking about people who are doing plumbing that's going out to the city's main, and that can cause problems. And a lot of times people do their own work, and then they come to us and say, no, it doesn't work. Well, can you look at my crawl space? Can you find my crawl space? It's not our responsibility, you know? So, no, you know, people always ask, you know, what if I replace my toilet in my house? Okay. So you replaced your toilet. We don't have eyes inside your house. But when you sit it out on the curb, you know.
But sometimes you pay a pro to do the job,
Mhm.
and he just give a slap to it and go, get his money and go.
Right. Well, you
And
have to
then
be
when
careful,
do
you
it-
have to do your
when I
due
do it my-
diligence and
Yeah,
choosing
when I do it
contractors.
myself, I do it with care, with
Right.
love. And it's better than the pro, you pay so much money.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
No.
There are
Oh, I
rules.
like it.
there are rules. If you, it's up to you. I mean, replacing something like that in your house.
And
That's
you've
not a
got your
problem.
own little turn off to turn the water off under the sink, right? So you're fine. You're
But
fine.
everybody doesn't know they gotta turn off, so some people just take the thing apart and
Yeah.
they got a
Oh,
disaster.
then they got disaster on their hands.
Right.
Okay, any more questions? Next on the agenda is roundtable discussion. It's pretty much just an open forum for residents to speak their mind, say what we should bring into the village of Dolton. We just currently tore down, demoed Dusty's. So if you know anybody that wants to buy that property, it is for sale. And we also, are selling the media center, which is on Edbrook. Any questions?
You're selling what?
The media center? It's on Edbrook? Yes.
Sylvia.
Yeah,
Where the Comcast building was moved to.
yes. Any comments from the trustees or housing?
Oh, I'd like to speak on Dusty's. I'd like to commend Trustee Hunt for putting that out there, because while we were doing a bond, it was some dollars there that could be utilized, which it cost us maybe about $36,000 to get it tore down and everything taken away.
Yeah,
How much was that?
it was like, it was under 50,000. It was under 50,000. It was 30, yeah.
But like I say, Trustee Hunt did put that out on the table, in which the whole board voted on unanimously to have Dusty's torn down. And Dusty's been an eyesore ever since it's been closed up since the fire, and it's just been talked about. So Trustee Hunt did push that through, and the board as a whole voted for Dusty to come down. So that was a collective deal with the whole board to make sure Dusty's came down. So now we within hope we can get a golden corral up there.
Well, actually, Dusty's has
He was
been
talking about
an
his place.
eyesore for a long time, but it was tied into some litigation and stuff, so.
Yeah, well, that
Until
was
it
before
comes
this
out.
new board came on board. It's been tied up, and just as I said, it
So
took,
you can't do nothing until it
It
gets
took-
untied.
yeah, it took Trustee Hunt to push that out there and keep it going. And as a whole, we all got together and was able to get it down, so.